One evening, I found myself alone at home. Our house had 2 levels, with an apartment situated on the top floor where my brother and I resided. Despite our parents living downstairs, it offered a comfortable setup. As it was the weekend and raining outside, my friends weren't up for any plans. I decided to spend the night in my room, engrossed in a new, suspenseful movie called Sleep. Midway through the movie, I paused it and strolled to the kitchen for a snack. As I reached for a box of crackers in the pantry, I heard an unexpected noise from the supposedly empty downstairs. Hastening back to my room, I closed the door and resumed the movie. Oddly, the backyard light was now switched on, and I caught sounds emanating from downstairs, right beneath my bedroom. It resembled the distinct closing of the back door. To clarify our house's layout, my room directly overlooked the back door on my parents' floor, and the walls seemed paper thin. Any sound downstairs reverberated clearly, and when I halted the movie, the distinct sound of footsteps became unmistakable. In a bid to unravel the mystery, I messaged the family group chat, inquiring about who had returned home. A minute later, my mom responded that none of them were home. This left me puzzled, as it couldn't have been them. The possibility of it being my brother seemed bizarre, given that he never used the back entrance and wasn't meant to be home that night. In our group chat, I alerted Alex about the sounds downstairs, but he didn't respond. The footsteps traversed the house, fading as they moved towards the front, only to return, ascending the stairs. In response, I silenced the TV. The steps advanced down the hallway directly toward my room, bypassing other rooms along the way. They were heavy, resonating until they halted at my door, which slowly creaked open. I lay motionless in bed, feigning sleep, barely peering through squinted eyes as a figure peeked into the room. Amidst the darkness, only the man's eyes were visible, a far cry from Alex's appearance. He lingered in the doorway, seemingly gazing at me. Time stretched, perhaps 30 seconds to a minute, while I maintained the pretense of slumber. When the door finally closed, an eerie silence lingered instead of the expected retreating footsteps. Frantically, I messaged the family chat in capital letters, urgently asking Alex if he was in the house. His swift response denied any presence. Panic rising, I informed them of the intruder's presence. Dialing 911, I whispered urgently into the phone, and at that moment, I heard faint footsteps moving away from my door, likely in response to my hushed conversation. The sound of steps descending the stairs followed, then abruptly ceased, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. I remained on the line with the dispatcher, awaiting help, as instructed. 5 minutes later, a knock echoed from downstairs, signaling the arrival of the police. With the dispatcher's clearance, I cautiously descended to let them in, relieved to see a familiar face, a police officer from my district. The 2 officers meticulously searched the entire house alongside me, meticulously inspecting every closet and under each bed. Once the house was declared clear, one officer remained behind while the other departed, leaving the back door unlocked, an oversight that seemed too simple to believe. Despite their thorough check, the thought of being alone until the next day left me restless, eliminating any chance of sleep. As time passed and the police presence faded, a light flickered on in the backyard, triggering a sudden alertness within me. Peering through the window, I caught sight of a figure moving from the house toward the dark, distant corner of the backyard, vanishing from my sight. It seemed like an attempt to breach the house again, but this time the door remained locked. I kept watch until the yard plunged into darkness when the traffic light switched off, rendering the outside invisible in the night's pitch blackness. The uncertainty lingered. If the light didn't return, I speculated that the intruder might not come back. Fortunately, the importance of locking doors lingered in my mind, a mere half-second's action that could prevent an intrusion. It dawned on me that my parents had forgotten to lock the door, a small oversight with significant consequences. The haunting image of the man's head peering into my room, locking eyes with me, etched itself deeply into my memory, a sight I knew would haunt me indefinitely.
The story continues in the next video. Thank you for your attention.